Hey, what's up? It's Nightflyer coming at you. It's been a while, but been busy with life. You know how that goes, and been trying out some new things. Been moving to some bigger size motors and flipping frames around and whatnot. But that's a different story. Uh, what I've been doing here recently is messing around with a few different simulators, which brought me across VelociDrone, and I've really been digging it. And it's got a lot of options to it. If you want to pause the screen, you can take a look and actually see what different settings there are. But there's a lot of stuff to change around, and a lot of things to get it exactly how you want it. It seems like the leaderboard says open, so I think you can change these around without really messing around too much as far as being on the leaderboard, but I haven't messed around with that too much. That's all on default for me right now. And really, before I broke in to what's going on and my latest update or whatnot with the sim, I wanted to go back and look back at everything I've touched and everything I've played that I really enjoyed and want to put time into. So I went back to FPV event, and like I said, I just switched to higher KV and bigger sized motors. FPV event seemed a little bit underpowered for me. It still has all those awesome tracks, and it was the first one that I played that had the UTTs and the regionals and whatnot. It was really good learning tool then, but when I just logged on to it, it just kind of felt underpowered. Liftoff, I updated it. I heard it had an update and it did a lot to help it out. Uh, it took me like 10 minutes to try to recalibrate my controller again, even though I haven't changed the profile or anything on it. And once I did calibrate it, I still had the yaw inverted, and I couldn't figure out how to switch it. And I finally got to the screen that I thought it was going to let me to switch that. And it says you have to make a copy of the profile. And when I said yes, it took me into some new screen, some new type of setup wizard, and it froze on me 4 times in a row. And I couldn't get the yaw to uninvert, and so I just kind of moved off from liftoff. I have to have a special model in my Tyrannus just to have liftoff to work correctly, when the other sims don't have to. I think Freerider I had to have a different one, but besides that, never had that issue. But whatever, I just can't get into liftoff like I used to. It was a great tool at the beginning, but liftoff I've kind of moved on from it. DRL is still the best learning tool for the value. I mean, for free, and they have amazing courses that really make you work for it. And the leaderboards, being able to see the top people's lines and really try to work to get up, to fight these known names. DRL is awesome. I can't believe it's a free thing, and really haven't had a chance to dive into the multiplayer too much. Every time I find a random person, I don't really can't really talk to them. They don't respond back to me, but whatever. Moving on to VelociDrone, I have really been enjoying it, and I want to start with the negatives because there are so few in comparison. But just moving on, a different kind of feel is what I seem to find in every different sim. Of course, they're not using the same algorithm or whatever to predict gravity and weight and whatnot, but this has definitely got a different feel. It took a little bit for me to get used to, but just the default settings was like a high KV motor. And since I've switched to higher KVs in real life, it's different to control. And this sim really picked that up, and I really enjoyed that. In tree levels, the limbs have major leniency, so I guess it had limb leniency or whatever. Even though the hitboxes were actually rather precise, I don't really remember other sim where I can clip my back propeller as I'm going through a gate. I don't know. It just seems like I've had more realistic reasons of crashing in this sim too. Like times where I thought I was gonna hit it, it was the back propeller, or survived something that I feel like I wouldn't in another sim because it's just too boxy of a hitbox. But I've been really digging that feel, even though that is a con of the limb leniency, I do enjoy the hitbox on this. It really feels true to life. And it's not the most visually stunning of all the Sims, but that's not the reason I'm here. I'm not here to look pretty and be in awe of the beautiful scenery. I'm here to learn. And that is why I like VelociDrone. And with that being said, I'm going to move on to the pros that I've found with this. And one of the first ones that I noticed that it has all of the UTTs. It has all of them. And I can dig that. It's something that should be a bottom line thing on every sim. But it does have a lot of unique tracks too, along with just the multi-GP stuff. And it has a track editor, and it has a lot of like unique just default tracks that rival the DRL creativity. And I can enjoy that. I really can appreciate that. There's a lot of flag, gate, field type stuff like you're seeing right now, but there's also a lot of warehouse, odd, crazy gates, 3D stuff. Really been digging that. And they have the leaderboard too. It's not as in depth as in DRL's leaderboard, but still, it really I can dig that also. The choice of models, I don't think I show it here on video, but they have a nice known choice. I used to fly Krieger, and I think that's what I'm flying on here. And it was cool. I don't think it's too big of a difference. There'll probably be subtle differences, but you can change a lot of it too, because it has beta flight rates. The screen is exactly like Betaflight. I think it's 3.0 and higher, where it has the super rates and whatnot. But that's really interesting too. I don't like having to look at different numbers when you're changing rates and Expo. For Expo is usually a percentage, but all the rates and RC rate and everything is usually a little bit different with every sim, but they just kind of took that idea out and just made it exactly like Betaflight, which I can really appreciate that, and it's kind of made me test a few different things that I probably wouldn't normally do if I was just flying my quad. The multiplayer has been really active since I've been playing. It seemed to get a little bit more games in Europe, but and the community that I've talked to in the last few days has been really cool guys, and a lot of fun racing. You can share maps very easily. I don't have to download it, or it doesn't make me do anything crazy. I just jump in the map literally, and I can choose to save the map if I want to. And yeah, it's really close knit community. It seems like every game I've jumped in, I think someone else joins that they already know the guy, and they end up getting in a little crap talking while they're racing, and it's been really cool. It has its own client too, the game itself, so that means updates are easy. It's not like the others where you have to kind of go through. I think DRL has its own client, and of course Liftoff goes through Steam. But that's cool as being an independent game off from something like Steam. And from what I see, the developer, this is like one of the first things they've done, or maybe it's just a new company for them. But they're a really small developer, and I really appreciate the ease of updates after dealing with FPV event, because I don't think I've really talked about that, but FPV event is kind of a headache to update, but it's really not that big of a deal in the scheme of things.
Now, I haven't had a chance to jump into the map editor yet, but I have played with people who have actually shared their maps of a course that they're going to build for their chapter this weekend, and gave him a little bit of advice on it, and it was really cool. Just building a course, flying a course, in virtual reality was what's going to be real on the weekend across the world. Something that I would never ever get a chance to fly. I was able to fly his course. No, that's nothing new. There's been in other sims where you can share maps with the editor, but it was really easy in VelociDrone. I can appreciate that a lot, and it also has great static noise. Now, ignore the quality of the way the game looks right now, because my the way my computer records compresses it all kind of weird, so it's way more bit crushed than it actually is. But the static is the most realistic in any game that any sim that I've played, just because I don't notice it that much. That's how I know I'm used to static. I don't notice it that much, but as I'm watching the replay of this right here, it mimics it very well. And if you see yourself go like through a concrete tunnel or inside of a building, it does change, become a little bit more frequent and whatnot. And I thought that was pretty cool too. But for 20 bucks, I think it's really hard to beat this sim. I've had so much fun with the multiplayer. It's been really great feeling since I've switched to the high KV motors. The pros definitely outweigh the cons, and yeah, I'm mad digging it right now, and I'm gonna be playing this for a while. I probably see myself treating this as my main sim for the moment until the weather clears, and hopefully won't have to worry about sims too much. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please leave me a comment on what you think your favorite sim is and what they are doing right or wrong. And if you have any troubles setting up VelociDrone, feel free to ask away, and I'm sure if I can't help out, someone can in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and throw me a like if you get the chance. Not, no worries. Again, this is Nightflyer. Thank you so much for listening to me to ramble on, and I will see you guys out there. Peace.